Non-Canadians, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you think Canada? I live about 45 minutes from Canada in Michigan. Hockey, pouting, and 19-year-old drinking age for me. 18 here in Manitoba. Also don't forget fully nude strippers. Also 18 in Quebec, and the fully nude strippers are probably better here too. Full nude and you can touch in Quebec. Fully nude in Alberta and the dancers touch you. The Red Green Show. I will always imagine that show portrays the ideal Canadian life. If the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. Keep your stick on the ice. Keep your dick in a vice. Gold. Skookum as frig. Instructions to clear. Maple syrup and MOOSE. Lay's once released that as a chip flavor. Maple moose meat. Maple moose meat sounds pretty ducking delicious tbh. Back in the day, 80s and stuff, we used to go across the street. Clare River / Lake Street. Clare to go to Canada. The thing that sticks out in my mind is the friendliest border guard / coast guard guys in the world. It was like, hey, so why are you traveling to Canada today? Oh, we're just gonna go pick some strawberries at that farm. You know the one. Oh, cool. Well, have a nice time. And don't forget to bring some back for us. Once out on the lake, we got busted by Canadians for having open alcohol on the boat. You guys know that's against the law over here. Right, my brother puts his beer out of their line of sight. Okay, you guys have a nice day. And of course, living so close to Canada, we got Hockey Night in Canada, SCTV, and CBC Radio. Now take off. Someday, in the middle of the night, we are going to sneak out and move the border just south of you. Then you won't be sorry. For this guy, the border is south of him. Check out Detroit on a map. It's north of Windsor. I once visited a friend in Detroit, and he asked if I brought my passport. When I said I didn't, he was bummed because he had to make other lunch plans. For my 19th birthday, I went to Canada with my dad. We drove like 45 minutes to the border, then got pulled aside for questioning. Turns out my dad has a DUI from 25 years ago and wasn't allowed in. Long story short, we were detained and questioned on our way into Canada for 2 hours until they deported us, and we got stopped and questioned at the US border for another 2 hours. Then we drove another 45 minutes back home. The color green for some reason and the leaf thing. Also murderous geese who will someday develop teeth and destroy mankind. Edit. Yes, now I know they have teeth. Too many teeth in fact. Once a year we have a ceremony and transfer all our rage and hatred into Canadian geese. So that's why Canadians are stereotypically nice. They convert their bad traits into geese. I'm Australian. This is what I think of when I think Canada. Friendliness and politeness. The Canadian flag. Maple tree / leaf / syrup. Mountains. Cold weather. Pouting. Speaking French. Hockey. I always viewed Australia as like a cousin to Canada. Now, you have to take Australia and New Zealand together and realize New Zealand is the Canada of that group and Australia is the US. Same as Czech and Slovakia. Or England and Scotland / Ireland. Yeah, but the Australians that come to Canada to work are always the friendly, outgoing ones. The angry conservative ones typically stay in Australia. I've never met a bad Australian except online. Rush. I went to the same high school as Neil Peart and the guys who created Trivial Pursuit. R.I.P. Neil Peart. A Wonderful Life Without Effing Pennies. When it first happened, I had a guy flip out and make me refund an entire order because I couldn't give him 2 pennies. He started ranting about sending a letter to Harper and that we couldn't rob him. When it first happened, I was in a Zellers, and the cashier spent 3 minutes politely explaining that I was too short, and she wouldn't listen to a word I'd say otherwise. I thought Zellers disappeared long before pennies, and now I'm questioning my memory because Wikipedia tells me otherwise. First I picture the beautiful flag, the simplicity and elegance which makes for a perfect flag. Then I picture the map, a huge county covered in unique and interesting nature. Then I picture the Mounties, dressed in their sophisticated red uniforms. gracefully riding their horses. Then I picture downtown Vancouver where I saw a hobo taking a piss in his hat. Stop. You're making me weep patriotic tears. The hobo later wept his own brand of patriotic tears onto the back of a dumpster. Extremely polite maple syrup. That's my joke. But, really? I think back to my childhood. Growing up in shitty apartments with a trailer park nearby in South Florida. An older couple that were snowbirds. People from a place with snowy winters. Who come to a warm place to spend the winter and then return home in the spring. They were the most delightful people. They somehow knew my dad. He was gone a lot for work and my mom was brutal. Anyway, they would arrive. They had a small trailer with an attached screened-in porch. The porch had jalousie windows. The trailer was a small one-bedroom affair, tiny. It was neat as a pin. When they arrived, she would open it up and begin cleaning for their 3-month visit. The husband would be gone to work or the horse track. She would hire me to wash windows, pull weeds and clean. She paid me a few dollars here and there. Literally $5 was a king's ransom back then. But she would cook for me. She made lunches and baked goods. I existed on cereal and other crap at home. My mother was a 100-pound cigarette smoker and didn't eat. Hardly at all and therefore never cooked. She was older when I was born. I was an oops kid for sure. At home my life sucked. This lovely woman fed me and treated me with kindness and dignity that my 11-year-old self had never known. I'm in my 50s now and can still see the inside of the screened-in porch and the TV tray where I sat and ate for a few days and then once a week after mowing for those 3 months. For 5 years until the husband died and they never returned. I swear. This lovely French Canadian lady is responsible for any of the good that is in my heart. I hadn't thought of those moments in quite a while. I'm getting tea rewriting this. So there. That's what Canada means to me. That is a beautiful story. As a Canadian here, I raise my maple syrup to you and say cheers. The Canadians are doing syrup shots now. There is a whiskey that is maple flavored. It's sold in Sac, liquor store of the province of Quebec. I personally think it's too sweet, but they make an alcoholic cream to like Baileys. That in a cup of coffee is awesome. Edit, spelling, sortilege. I wonder if we can get it at the LCBO. I'll have to look this winter. Eater thanks. Hosers. Next time I go to the LCBO to pick up a Mickey and a 224, I'll be sure to grab a bottle. The woods. Even though they're not talked about much, Canada's extensive boreal forests are super cool to me. Edit. Now wondering how my most upvoted comment is literally just me saying that trees are neat. It's disappointing how few people know that Canada has a rainforest separate from the boreal forests. When most people think about the rainforest, they think about a tropical rainforest. Ours is really interesting because it's a temperate rainforest. Totally different vibe. Unbelievably beautiful. Edit. Here's an example. Cathedral Grove. Link. /explore/park/Macmillan/. I've been to Northern California and Oregon forest. Is it similar to that Pacific Northwest vibe? It's basically the same forest. Just continues north of the border. A tiny bit colder. And little more grey. Poutine. Ah. The old Canadian salad. Sure is something tasty to pout in your mouth. Ketchup potato chips. Okay, but they are delicious and my favorite flavor ever. Have you even had all dressed? Okay, honestly they like my third favorite. Now I'm curious as to what your second favorite is. Lake Louise. Proposed to my wife there. What'd she say? Let's just be friends. F. Maple syrup and the Canadian flag. Honestly that's what I just thought of. But also, I think of trees, airplanes, and Saskatchewan. Edit, the letter Z, Z. Or according to Canadians, Z. You have no idea how hard it is to insist to two toddlers that it's pronounced Z when every single song, TV show, toy, etc says Z. They think I'm either an idiot or bullshitting them. Canadian here. Shout out to the great U.S. Band ZZ Top. JZ. Am Canadian. And was once working with an Irish immigrant. We were driving to a job site when he reached over and cranked the radio bouncing around the van. I looked at him with a smirk and he replied, That's fucking JZ. Yeah. I haven't laughed like that in a long time. Missy Abilene. I have a lot of friends in Canada, so I think of them. Close bracket. This is so wholesome. Phil Hartman, Jim Carrey, Mike Myers, Dan Aykroyd, Will Arnett, Tommy Chan, John Candy. So funny dudes. Yeah, I know, I'm old. In addition, Martin Short, Ryan Reynolds, Matthew Perry, Michael J. Fox, Seth Rogen, Leslie Nielsen, Eugene Levy, Dan Levy, Russell Peters, Norm Macdonald, Michael Cera, Howie Mandel, Lon Michaels, Rick Moranis, Jerry D. Colin Mockery, Nathan Fielder, Ron James, Jason Jones, Rich Little, Rick Mercer, Will Sasso, Alan Fike, The Kids in the Hall and the Trailer Park Boys. So yeah, definitely funny dudes. Edit. Sorry, we also have wonderfully funny and talented women. The original comment was about a bunch of funny guys, so I limited my response to men. But I forgot to mention that yes, we do also have women here, and many of them are also very funny. Do people outside of Canada know about Rick Mercer? Serious question. I just don't see his stuff playing outside of Canada at all. Judging by talking with Americans, I'm gonna say no. Okay, how in the world has Noon said this? Hockey is one of the only places where a man with his teeth bashed out will point at another man with scars and a crooked nose and say, admiringly, that guy has such beautiful soft hands. Silky mitts. I remember being like 4 years old and my dad telling me that Mary Mooks had hands of velvet when we were watching a game. I was so confused and could not figure out why his hands were velvet and how that would help him in hockey. I did figure it out eventually. Tabarnak. Sorry, but Ryan Reynolds. And Ryan Gosling. Sigh. And Keanu Reeves. The Duck. Keanu Reeves is Canadian. Grew up in Toronto. I'm surprised no one has mentioned Alex Trebek. He's a national treasure. Trailer Park Boys. No joke. Nova Scotia smokes more weed per capita than any other province, and it makes a lot of sense once you watch that show. We got to deal with living here somehow. Close bracket. Can confirm. Cape Breton is not an exciting place. Can confirm. Absolutely nothing to do here besides get high. Definitely say that so casually I have to mentally think about not saying it. Apparently I do too. To the point Canadians have become excited, thinking they found a fellow expat in the US. Nope. Just a former Alaskan. Close enough. You certainly know how to use it. Exactly. The number of times I've tried to explain to someone the use of a. We don't just drop it at the end of every sentence for comedic effect. It's used to turn a declaration into a question. If they just said close enough, they're telling us it's close enough. But saying close enough, they're asking if we agree. They're saying, don't you think that's close enough? Maple syrup. Real maple syrup. The fact that fake maple syrup exists is unfathomable to me. It comes from fake plastic trees. A green plastic watering can. To me, probably heroism and loyalty. Canada played a very major role in liberating my country from German occupation in WW2. And every year during the 5th and 6th of May we commemorate your bravery and sacrifice. So yeah. Thank you, Canada. Edit. Wow. I didn't think there would be so much love for my little froggy country. Thank you all for your kindness and thank you so much for the silver. It's my first. 3. We love you too, Netherlands. Land of mini pancakes and the land of maple syrup. Such a wholesome friendship. Bob and Down Mackenzie. Take off. Right this moment. Letterkenny. How are ya now? Good and you? Not's bad. I once saw something on Reddit. Not sure if it was a post or a comment, but it was someone describing how a Canadian will reach past someone at a grocery store to grab something, and they'll pretty much always say this when they do. Just gonna sneak right past ya there. This may not be exactly right, but it's still what I think about every time Canadians are mentioned in any medium. Lol, I say this all the time. Didn't realize this was a Canadianism, but I guess I can confirm it's true. Canadian checking in. Can confirm. I say this all the time. I thought this was a common saying for everyone lol. The Tragically Hip. Watched the long time running Netflix doco last night and highly recommend it. Ain't nothing more Canadian than that. Canadian here. The most Canadian moment I've experienced is probably the night of the Hips' last concert. When it was broadcast live all across the country, entire communities came out and watched together in parks, etc. on big screens. It felt like every single Canadian had come together in that moment, and the sense of national unity that night is something I'll never forget. How South Park portrays them. Blame Canada. With all their beady little eyes and flapping heads so full of lies. With their hockey hullabaloo and that bitch Anne Murray too. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.